Imagine this: a 3-year-old child who could not speak, could not walk, could not even smile. Everyone thought he would remain weak forever. But one day, when the homeland faced danger, that very child rose up. Not just to walk, but to grow into a giant warrior, riding an iron horse, breathing fire, and defeating an invading army. This is the story of Saint, a timeless Vietnamese legend that reminds us, true strength lies in the heart that dares to protect its people. Long ago, in a small village nestled along the banks of the Red River, there lived a couple whose hearts ached with longing for a child. Their prayers echoed through the misty mornings and starlit nights, until finally, the heavens answered. A baby boy was born, bringing joy that overflowed like the river during monsoon season. But as the seasons changed and years passed, their jubilation slowly transformed into a deep, gnawing worry. At 3 years old, their precious son remained as silent as the morning dew. Not a single word had ever passed his lips, nor had his tiny feet taken even one step forward. He sat, day after day, his gaze fixed on the vast sky above, as if searching for answers in the clouds. Whispers began to ripple through the village like wind through rice paddies. Perhaps the gods have given them a useless child, some would say, their words sharp as thorns. But in the face of doubt and despair, the mother's love remained unshakable. Each dawn, she would gather her son in her arms, his weight a reminder of the miracle she had been granted. Softly, she would whisper into his ear, her voice filled with unwavering faith. "One day, my son, you will show your purpose. The world may not see it yet, but I know there's greatness within you." As the boy's 3rd year drew to a close, a dark cloud descended upon the land. News spread like wildfire, carried on the breath of terrified messengers. A mighty army of invaders had breached the northern borders. Villages burned, their ashes carried on the wind. People were torn from their homes, forced into chains. The very soul of the nation trembled in the face of this merciless onslaught. In his desperation, the king sent out a call that echoed across mountains and valleys, through forests and fields. Heroes of the land, his proclamation rang out, "Rise now. Your homeland needs you." It was a plea, a prayer, a final hope against the encroaching darkness. When the royal messenger reached the small village by the Red River, his voice hoarse from days of shouting, something extraordinary occurred. As the villagers gathered, their faces etched with fear, the silent child, the boy who had never uttered a sound, suddenly opened his mouth. His voice, clear and strong, rang out for the very first time. "Mother," he said, his words filling the air with wonder, "please ask the king to bring me an iron horse, an iron sword, and iron armor. I will drive the enemy away." The mother nearly collapsed, her legs weak with shock and awe. The villagers stood frozen, unable to believe their ears. Had the mute child truly spoken? And with such a bold declaration, in that moment, a flicker of hope ignited in their hearts. Could this strange, silent boy be the answer to their prayers? Could he be the savior they had been desperately waiting for? The king, his throne teetering on the brink of destruction, grasped at this sliver of hope like a drowning man clutches a floating log. He commanded every blacksmith in the kingdom to set their forges ablaze, to work day and night without rest. "Forge an iron horse that breathes fire," he ordered. "Create a sword that can cleave mountains. Craft armor that can withstand 1,000 blows." As the kingdom's fires burned bright with purpose, the boy began a transformation of his own. His appetite became insatiable, as if trying to devour the strength of the entire nation. Bowls of steaming rice vanished before astonished eyes. Plates piled high with fish, pork, and vegetables disappeared in the blink of an eye. The villagers, their own bellies often empty, gave everything they had. Each morsel seemed to fuel a miraculous growth. With every passing day, the boy grew taller, stronger, mightier. His frame expanded, muscles rippling beneath his skin like waves on the sea. His voice deepened, resonating with the power of distant thunder. The villagers watched in awe as the child they once pitied began to tower over them, his head seeming to brush against the clouds themselves. When the iron horse finally arrived, pulled by a team of straining oxen, it was a sight to behold. Steam hissed from its nostrils, and its eyes glowed with an inner fire. The sword, longer than a man is tall, gleamed in the sunlight. And the armor. Oh, the armor. It shone like a second sun, each plate intricately forged to withstand the fiercest of blows. The boy, now a giant of a man, donned the armor with ease. He mounted the iron horse, which roared to life beneath him, shaking the very earth. The once silent child had become Saint, a warrior chosen by heaven itself. The villagers fell to their knees, tears streaming down their faces. For in this moment, they knew they were witnessing the birth of a legend. As rode forth to meet the enemy, the land itself seemed to tremble in anticipation. The invading army swept across the countryside like a plague of locusts, leaving destruction in their wake, but charged forward, his iron horse breathing gouts of flame, his mighty sword flashing like lightning in a storm. The clash of battle echoed across the land. With each swing of his sword, hundreds of enemies fell. Those who had once sneered at the weak nations they sought to conquer, now felt fear grip their hearts. Gióng was unstoppable force of nature, given human form. But even legends can face setbacks. In the heat of battle, as sword cleaved through enemy ranks, the unthinkable happened. The blade shattered, for a heartbeat, silence fell across the battlefield. Enemy soldiers, sensing weakness, began to rally. In that crucial moment, let out a roar that shook the heavens. With strength born of desperation and love for his homeland, he reached down and uprooted massive bamboo trees from the nearby fields. In his mighty hands, these simple plants became weapons of mass destruction. The green stalks whistled through the air, striking down foes by the dozens. The tide of battle turned. What had been a desperate defense became a rout. The invaders, once so confident in their superiority, now fled in terror before the bamboo-wielding giant, pursued them relentlessly, driving them back across the borders they had so arrogantly crossed. When the last enemy soldier had been driven from Vietnamese soil, a great cheer rose up from the people. They had been saved. Surely now, their hero would return in triumph, to be showered with riches and honors beyond imagining. But had other plans. Without a word, he turned his iron horse and rode not towards the capital, but to the peak of mountain. There, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, he removed his armor piece by piece. Each plate fell to the earth with a resounding clang, embedding itself in the rock of the mountain. Raised his arms to the heavens, bidding a silent farewell to the land he had saved. And then, to the astonishment of all who watched, both he and his iron horse began to rise into the air. Higher and higher they soared, until they disappeared into the clouds, never to be seen again. The people wept, their tears a mixture of joy for their salvation and sorrow at the loss of their hero. But as they turned their eyes from the sky to the land around them, their homes safe, their fields unburned, their families intact, their hearts swelled with pride. They knew they had witnessed not just the deeds of a great warrior, but the very spirit of Vietnam made flesh. For in Saint they saw the unbreakable will of their people, the courage to stand against any foe, no matter how mighty. His legend would be passed down through generations, a reminder that true strength often comes from the most unexpected places. Even today, as modern Vietnam reaches for new heights, the story of Saint continues to inspire. It teaches us that protecting our homeland is not a duty reserved only for mythical heroes or powerful leaders. It is a sacred bond, a responsibility shared by every citizen, from the mightiest general to the humblest farmer. The legend whispers to us across the centuries, when a people unite with courage and love for their country, when they stand together in the face of adversity, no enemy, no matter how vast their armies or advanced their weapons, can ever truly conquer them. For in the heart of every Vietnamese person, the spirit of lives on, ready to rise up and defend the land they call home.